right, what's good, everybody? What's good? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Just wanted to give it a couple seconds, let everybody else join onto the call. So what's good, everybody? Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I know I definitely did. It was very eventful in a way. I got locked out of my phone. I just got my phone. I got back into my phone. So that was kind of fun. But hopefully everybody had a great weekend. Got to enjoy their friends and family. Now, we're leading into a new trade week, so obviously I want to jump on a call, really make sure that I'm helping you guys understand exactly what's needed to become profitable, and really help you guys understand what tools to use when you're trading and how to use those tools, and answer any questions that you guys may have as well. Now, I think I might have to go back and forth through this and here just for the chat, only because I don't believe I'll be able to see if you guys are chat. If you guys can actually type something in the chat just to see if I can actually see it pop up on my end, because I am on my phone, but again, since I was locked out of everything, I'm not currently signed into YouTube, so I don't know if I can actually see the chat. But if you guys can type something, that would be great, just so that way I could see if I could answer or see the questions that you guys leave. Again, I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance when we're doing these sessions. I want everybody to leave with some type of knowledge and education and value. So it's really important that I understand that you, or speak on something that you guys really want to learn, and really that's going to help you guys. But obviously I'd like to start off with a few specific charts like gold, really understand what the markets are doing. Test 1 2 3 YouTube Pro, appreciate that. Yeah, I can definitely see him, so we're good. I don't have to be signed into YouTube, so appreciate that, big homie. I can see all the questions that you guys have. So again, good morning, everybody. Hopefully everybody's having a good time. Great weekend. What's popping, my mans? What's good, Sydney? All right, so I can't see what you guys are putting out, so that's perfect. All right, so obviously I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance and helping you guys understand what's needed to become profitable, and also help you guys use those tools, or the tools needed to become profitable in general. So and let me actually just delete everything here on gold. I like starting fresh with you guys. I don't like to have anything pre-marked up. I like to go over everything in total. So I do want to go over gold really quick. Obviously, this is a market that I personally love to trade. It's one of my favorite markets. Now, we are seeing a very strong bullish move within this market. We can see from these lows to where the highs are now. We can clearly see that we are looking at a very bullish market. Again, from those lows here to these highs. So we're creating higher highs and higher lows. But if we look left to get right, we can kind of understand that we're meeting a level of current structure in a sense. Let me put that right there. So this was the entire zone that I was looking at before. We broke above that. But that's the beauty of what a head and shoulders pattern is, or what breakout patterns are in general. And there's even structure up here. Because if we scale down to a smaller time frame, this is starting to give us a strong idea of a head and shoulders pattern, which is a reversal pattern that usually happens at a level of structure. And what usually ends up happening is the head of that pattern is usually the fake out, where it's trying to create that higher high, and it can't. You can see that we're actually starting to create now lower highs, this being the start of the lower high. So me being able to see that we're starting to create that lower high, and we can also see that there's some structure here, this level of support, that is considered the neckline of this head and shoulders pattern. You can see that being the level of structure there. So let's write this down. Strong structure. If broken, sellers are taking over. Right, because we need to break below this level of current support, or just simply structure and price, for us to get the idea that sellers are taking over. This will be the break of the neckline, and we do have a full-fledged reversal going on. Now, we don't have that yet, but I will be looking to see one of two things. This could be considered a buy area if we are looking at this as a level of respect, and it can break above without a doubt. Or even with gold, we can mark this up and now identify this as its small little ranging market, at least in this little sense here, right? And if we do get this, even if it breaks above this trend line, it's not a perfect trend line. Let me actually see. It's not even a confirmed trend line because it only has 2 touches. So even if we get this market to break above, I'll actually get rid of this for now. If we can come back up to here, I'll be looking for sells on gold. Now, the reason why I'd be looking for sells around this area is simply because anytime you're looking to trade a head and shoulders pattern, this is my personal preference. I'm going to draw this out for you guys. Let's say you have a head and shoulders pattern, right? So I'm going to draw the neckline here. So let's say you have that head and shoulders pattern. For me, I like to sell right off that left shoulder price, right? Because that's the actual level of resistance that the market was supposed to respect, but it couldn't because the head of the pattern is considered the fake out. It's supposed to show that it's still bullish, but when it closes underneath or creates that new lower high, it's closing alongside that right shoulder price. So I personally like to place my sells at that point. A lot of people also do this, which is fine. You get the break of the neckline and then the retest of it. It could also be a trend line. You can also sell there. But if I can get into both sells, why not? So me personally, I'll be looking for sells on gold if we can, in fact, reach this area. So I'm going to write that down for us as well. If level is met again, we will look for sells. Oh. We will look for sells. So right now, this will be considered a sell kill zone. I'll just even write that down for even further confirmation. Sell kill zone, just in case. So that's what I'll be looking at with gold. And that's just to start us off with. I know I just kind of like threw that on you guys, but it's just to start us off with for the session, just to give you guys an idea of what I'd be looking at least for gold. I know a lot of people love this market. I personally do as well, so that's something I definitely wanted to take a look at. But what questions do you guys have? What markets would you like for me to take a look at? Good morning for the rest of the people who just jumped on as well. I appreciate you guys being on this morning. But yeah, any questions, any specific markets you guys want me to take a look at, feel free to let me know. Let me drink some Red Bull real quick. Perfect. I'm just getting over being like super sick, so I apologize for how I sound right now. But yeah, let me actually go ahead and see what we're looking at with some of these yen pairs. And I'll take a look at US30 and some of the indices as well in a second. I definitely got you guys. But I do want to see what GJ's doing. Okay. So I was looking for a potential trade opportunity with GJ, and we actually are right within that area. So again, anytime we jump onto a chart, we have to understand the overall factors, everything. What's good? Good morning, Gordy. I appreciate you being on. So what I'm looking at with GJ is something really important, right? We were looking at a strong seller's market. Somebody said, EA, please. Thanks. Euro AUD, I got you. I'll take a look at Euro AUD in a second, right after I'm done with GJ. Are you asking because the trade that I put out for the signal, or what's your specific question with EA, Gordy? And then I'll be able to answer it more specific to what you need. So real quick with GJ, we are looking for potential strong buys or long-term buys, because what you can see here is even though we can see from these highs to these lows, we're very much in a seller's market. But what we can see is that we did reach a level of specific structure, a very strong level of structure, right? And this is again on the higher time frame, being the daily, something extremely strong. And anytime you come down to, or you're on a stronger time or a higher time frame rather, the stronger that confluence is, stronger that zone, that structure becomes. And you can see here at this level of structure, if I'm just going to be specific to where the respect is, I know this dropped lower, but we're talking about the most common sense areas where the level of structure was hit the most. So we can see that. At that level of structure, we also created a double bottom. Let me go ahead and do this. Double bottom. So with the double bottom at a level of significant structure, that's going to show me that buyers are most likely wanting to take over. And we can even see here with the respect of our, or the behavior of our candlesticks, we're not looking at a structure point. We're just looking at these candles right there, the wicks that they're showing, right? Wicks equal rejection, and we're getting bearish rejection due to these wicks. So if I scale down to a smaller time frame, can anyone see something a little bit different? It looks weird, but it is in fact a inverted head and shoulders pattern. It looks really weird, but left shoulder, double bottom as the head of the pattern, and we're looking at the right shoulder here as well. This pattern, I mean, I know I always bring it up, but it shows up so many times within the market, it's almost impossible to ignore. So what I'm looking at is a break above, obviously, this point. But we might actually have a potential trade setting up here soon. Let me actually just draw this out, see if there was, no, okay. I thought we were going to get a connective point from there, but it doesn't seem so. I'm just remarking this up as the market is now developed a little bit more. Not the 2 hour, jump onto the 1 hour. I wanted to see if there was going to be a potential buy setting up on this, but I might actually change my mind and look for potential sells. So I know this strategy looks really weird. I just wanted to see something really quick. So I might actually change my bias for a short-term sell leading into a buy. So let me go ahead and draw this out fully. So what I'm doing right now is I'm marking up the level of structure where I think it'll be the most relevant if it did in fact sell down to a point. And I'm thinking here, because obviously this has a little bit more of, say, common sense areas of respect. I mean, this has more respect around this price than anywhere else. I mean, it can go lower, but I'm not worried about that as of yet. I would worry about the first level of structure that I can find as a take profit, if you will. That would be here. But I might actually go ahead and look for some potential sells where we're currently at. Let me get rid of this and draw this out as well. So depending on how this reacts here, I might actually look for sells down to this point. Change my bias on the fly now that I got a little bit more detail. There's no entry on this yet, so please nobody enter this. I'm drawing this out just so that way when I jump back onto GJ, I know exactly what I'm looking at. I have it marked up for a specific entry, and then I'm looking at this as like, okay, I know what I'm looking for. I saw this as a potential sell. Let me see if there's any more indication or the market is leaving more clues to confirm that, and then I'll go ahead and enter my trade. But there is no entry on this as of yet. So we'll come back to GJ. Somebody said they wanted to take a look at Euro AUD. So, Gordy, what is your question with Euro AUD? Why do you want to take a look at Euro AUD? What is the synopsis? This is, I know we were looking at sells on this previously. There might be a sell setting back up on this as well. So let me just I did erase the analysis. So in case anybody's wondering, I did tell you guys to go ahead and sell Euro AUD. If you're not a part of the Discord, feel free to go into the description below and go ahead and take the link. You'll have access to our Discord where I'm obviously posting links to some our sessions and obviously signals and analysis, so that way you guys can remain profitable and learn at the same time. So we did sell Euro AUD. I did sell everybody. If you wanted to take profits or leave everything break even, you guys could. But right now we are looking at a corrective move on Euro AUD. I did delete the original analysis, so I forgot exactly where we entered. I think it was somewhere over here. You guys should already be out of that initial trade. But there might be a potential setup, or another trade setting up as we speak. If we jump onto a higher time frame being the daily, again, you want to make sure that you're seeing the overall market. You're seeing everything in total. You're not just looking at one little segment on a smaller time frame and expecting to get trades like that. Absolutely not. What you want to do is, again, understand the overall market. Is it creating higher highs, lower lows? What is it actually doing? Now, this is not going to be an accurate trend line. This is just to show you that this market is creating lower highs. Obviously, this is not an accurate trend line because you cannot cut through the candles of a market. But you can see it's creating lower highs and lower lows. If we actually draw this trend line from this side, what can you get? Let's actually see. I want to see if we can get a strong, there we go. I like that a lot more. So you can cut through wicks of a candle on that specific time frame that you're marking it up on, and you can see here there is respect throughout this angle here. Well, I can't draw that through it, but you can see here respect, 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 and we have a break. That break is important, right? Because that break is showing us that, okay, well, what was a bullish trend line keeping this afloat has now been broken with a breakout candle. So with that breakout candle, that's showing me that sellers are in fact taking over. We already created the lower highs and lower lows, right? Because this was the high point. Now we're creating lower highs. and we're creating now lower lows. Where is that lower low? Well, not only did the trend line break, but there was also a level of structure that was broken as well. We can see it right here. So what we can actually get is a level of respect on that structure point, and we can also get respect of that trend line. Even on this higher time frame, we can use a Fibonacci to give us further confirmation. So we'll go from swing high to swing low. And we have a 38.2 just within that area. So what could eventually happen is, and we're looking at a pretty bullish engulfing candle, this right here, all three of these candles put together, if this candle closes, which I believe it would close bullish the way it's looking now, or even more, that looks like a Morningstar candlestick reversal pattern. So that tells me that this market may in fact give us an even steeper correction, or if not, if it stays within the context of our analysis, right within here, we have an argument for another sell. And for Gordy, he said it's been bearish since last week, looking to see if it will continue bearish or did it create market shift on EA. Market shift? Nah, you could just call it a reversal, man. No, you don't have to start using big terminology. It's a reversal, if anything, right? I don't think it'll be that, though. I don't think it'll be a reversal. I don't think it'll be a market shift. It won't be any of that. I do think that even though I know we're looking at structure back here, in a sense, that is somewhat being respected, this will tell us what's initially happening, right? If we do get respect from this point, I'll be looking for sells. If it breaks above the structure, it breaks above the 38.2, it comes back within that trend line, then I'll change my analysis. But right now, I would look at this as a strong continued sell. But I will be taking note that we are coming back to this level, or we did come back to that structure point. But I would still, in my honest opinion, be looking for continued sells, especially after when you break, because this is a break of structure on a high time frame. That's telling us that in order for this to happen, sellers had to be in control, because you're never just going to get a weak break of structure. It's always going to be something strong and significant. That is a strong and significant break, which could be a continuation. But I do think that Euro AUD will continue to push down much lower. And then somebody said Euro JPY was good, Alex. All right, so hopefully that helps with Euro AUD. I do think that we will look for continued sells. It doesn't necessarily look that bullish as of yet, but if we do again break above our initial analysis, we come back within that structure, breaks back above that trend line, then I'll start looking at changing my bias a little bit. But as of right now, I would still be looking for sells. So we'll do this. Potential sell zone, because there's no confirmations for it as of yet. Once we reach that point and we start to see more candlestick behavior, we start to see the market react around that point, then I'll in fact be looking for, it wouldn't be a potential sell, it'll then be more of a definite. All right, and I'll take a look at Euro JPY. So when you guys tell me to take a look at a chart, I want to know why. What is it you want me to do? What is it you are looking at? Are you in a trade? Do you have a markup? It's all about you guys, not about me. So I want to make sure that I'm speaking on relevance. So what is it you would like to see with Euro JPY? What is your initial question with Euro JPY? It's very important that, again, I speak on relevance and help you guys out to the best of my abilities, because, I mean, that's basically my job. And then, yeah, let me actually, before we do that, let me go back to GJ real quick, because if this is a good trade, I want to place it for myself and obviously place it for our auto traders. So no, there is no trade on this as of yet. I'm waiting to see if the market will, in fact, give us an opportunity. So let me actually put that there. If we can come back up to here, I'll be looking for a potential sell. Let me go back to Euro JPY, which we might have an idea for a trade on this. Is just, will it be good to jump in for a potential sell? Well, what is your analysis on it? What is your thought on it? Why would you think it's a sell? And that's not to sound disrespectful. It's just like there has to be a reason behind it. Now, I do think that, and I'm going to go into a higher time frame on Euro JPY here as well. Again, it kind of looks the same as GJ in the sense on a higher time frame on what previously happened, right? Because again, we have to understand the overall market. What's really truly happening here? Is it bullish? Is it bearish? We have to check. So if we look left to get right, we can see that we did in fact meet a level of significant structure. Right, this will be the entire zone. I just don't like my zones that big, so we're going to cheat a little bit, and we're going to put our zone like that. We can see from previous times, respect, 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 break above, came right back down and did what? Respect. And we have the same thing here. Now, when we look at this small segment of the market, we can also call this another what? Double bottom. 1, 2, right? We have a bullish reversal pattern. So double bottom. So that double bottom is again telling me that buyers may in fact continue to stay strong and push this market to the upside. Now on this time frame, I mean, you can add this potential trend line if you want into the mix for future reference. I'm not going to use that right now. On this time frame, I'm not going to go crazy with the analysis because I understand the overall aspect. Structure, we already met a level of structure. We have a double bottom, which is showing us that there's a potential idea for a bullish reversal. I think on a smaller time frame, like the 1 hour, 4 hour, this trend line would look a little bit better, but I'm just going to draw it out for now. Now, I'm drawing that out because obviously that could be used as a reference point for a level of resistance. And then also this could be used as our reference point as a level of resistance. That high must be broken in order for us to understand if there's going to be continued buys. Now, I know you're asking if this is going to be a continued sell. I do not think that, to be honest. I think that overall, even with GJ, that's why there's no trade on that as of yet. I think that the yen pairs will actually continue to be bullish. I don't think they're actually going to really remain bearish. You can kind of see it creating, I mean, you can even see a triple bottom on the smaller time frame, 1, 2, 3. We're creating that little high point already. I do think that we'll be looking more along the lines of bullish intent with the majority of yen pairs. I know you're probably looking for a sell because it's at this level of structure, but this is a small time frame, being the 1 hour. Even if you can see this on the 15-minute or whatever, these are small time frames, and these small time frames, their structure is easily broken. So when you have such a level of weak structure, being the 1 hour time frame, next to a significant level of structure being the 4 hour or even daily, that market is going to gravitate towards this structure more, because that's the true price point that the market is respecting, right? And this is the actual high point that the market needs to break in order for buyers to be confirmed. Now, does it necessarily mean that it cannot sell? It definitely could. There's opportunities for it. But this would probably be your best shot for it, right? Because you are at a minor level of structure here. You are at a high point in a sense. But I really don't believe that this would be a good sell, even at this range here. Like, you have to understand that this market has these high points. This is the true resistance. And the way that this market is setting up, this even looks like, and I was trying to draw it out before, I just like gave up on it. This was kind of setting up as, or kind of is setting up as a breakout pattern, right? Try to make that perfect. So I forgot exactly how I had it, but this was setting up to be a bullish breakout pattern. And if anything, I mean, at least for this top half, which I know I had previously, is correct. That's broken to the upside. Give me 1 second. Ooh, my bad, guys. I almost like sneezed in everybody's ear. I didn't want to like be all loud, so I had to put myself on mute. I know I sounded really, really weird there for a second, but yeah, I didn't want to sneeze in everybody's ear and be disrespectful, so I put myself on mute. But we're back. All right. So yeah, I do think that, again, I forgot exactly the trend line that or the breakout pattern that I had before, but this top half right here being extremely accurate in the sense that we have our base, right? We have our secondary, and then we have our trigger. You can see on that third touch, not only does it validate it, but it was definitely respected. We are now breaking above that. So I wouldn't look for any sells on this. Again, I will wait for it to at least reach these highs before you start looking for any potential sells. This will be your strongest sell point. And then obviously if that's broken, you don't look for any form of sells, but we'll just do this real quick. So I would say potential sell zone, but I would say don't hold for long. I think overall bullish, because there might be a chance where the market does do something like this. It pushes up to this resistance, and then it could give you an initial correction, at least back down to maybe the structure that was broken, maybe even down here. You know, there is that opportunity where you can get a strong sell from there, but that could just be the initial correction before the market builds the energy needed to break above. So there might be a sell from that point. If there is, I would say take it. And if there is, and I do like it myself, I'll be taking it, and I'll keep you guys advised with it. But I think overall, we probably be looking a little bit more bullish alongside. Again, it really is coming from these higher time frames. You can see that the structure down here was respected almost perfectly. Right? Again, just identifying that. It's important that we understand the overall idea, the higher time frames, because it saves us a lot of heartache. Because if you're like, is it bullish? Is it bearish? I'm not too sure. Well, if you start seeing it bullish on the smaller time frames, you're like, why is it bullish? And you come onto the daily or the higher, like the weekly and the monthly, and you're like, okay, well, that's the reason. Double bottom at a level of significant structure. That's a reversal pattern. That's a strong level of price. Like, you'll start adding these things together. So that way, when you go into a smaller time frame, you start seeing those bullish clues left behind. Like, look at this candle. That's a bullish clue. Where is it? Right here. Again, wicks equal rejection. That is showing, that's saying that buyers or sellers were trying to take over, and the buyer said, nah, you're good. We're going to continue to push up much higher. So yeah, I do think that we'd be looking at continued buys on Euro JPY. So I'll go back to GJ and I'll change my initial analysis, because I did say I was looking for sells, a quick sell, but I don't think that's the case anymore, because these yen pairs are looking extremely bullish. But yeah, hopefully that helps. Hopefully that gives you an idea of Euro JPY. Is there any other markets you guys would like to take a look at? Is there any questions that you guys may have? Is anyone confused? I want to make sure that nobody's leaving here with more questions and answers. Again, it's really important that I help everybody actually understand how to trade. But yeah, good morning, everybody. I appreciate everybody being on. My outlook on gold. I was speaking on gold before, actually, but this is kind of like what I'm looking at, and I'll just go over it again because I know we didn't have that many people on previously, and a lot of you guys are on now, and you guys weren't on when I was speaking about it. So, again, right now, overall, when we're looking at gold, I can tell you, again, from these lows to these highs, this is a bullish market. But if we look left to get right, we can see that we're kind of coming into some structure where it's not wanting to become bullish anymore. At least not for the meantime, right? After a strong impulsive move, which this is exactly what this is. This is a strong impulsive move with little to no correction. This could be the start to at least a sell. And not just say, you know, a reverse. I'm not talking about a reversal where it's coming all the way back down here. But I do think that if we can come back down, or if we're going to come back down or have a correction, it'll be from this initial area. And let me see. When you're analyzing gold, it's the same as, yeah, it's literally the same thing. Gold and XAUUSD is literally the same exact market. There's not a difference. It's just worded differently. It's just the ticker symbol, if you will. But yeah, it's literally the same exact thing. Because look at this, XAUUSD. No difference. Literally no difference. What is XAUUSD? Gold versus the dollar, right? What's gold? Gold is the dollar. Gold is the dollar, right? Because the US uses that as our what? Our reserve. So anything that gold is doing, it's the dollar as well. So this is XAUUSD. This is gold. Literally the same exact thing. Nothing different. Just the name. So again, we're coming back to a level of, I wouldn't say significant structure, but there is some structure here if we look left, which could be the cause of a potential correction in this market. And we're starting to see that. You can't really see it too much on the higher time frame. When we start scaling down to the smaller time frames, such as the 4 hour and 1 hour, you start to see it a little bit more clear. And anytime I see this pattern, I'm always going to take it. There is a break of a trend line here as well. I'm going to start it from this point. You can see the connective areas here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can even see the breaks within this time frame, the smaller time frames rather. And if you guys can also see it, there is a what? Head and shoulders pattern, which is showing me that sellers are probably coming into this market, right? So if I can see a head and shoulders pattern forming at a level of strong structure or higher time frame structure, and I can start to see the break of this trend line, I can see the respect of the trend line here as well, the structure that it's made, the resistance, so that can be a factor. And now it's at this level of support, which needs to be broken to confirm, or market structure needs to be broken in order to confirm that sellers are in fact taking over and still, or are going to bring this market much lower, right? So what I would think is, and I'll get rid of the trend line real quick, with the overall idea, we're in a ranging market, 1 hour range, H1 range, H1 ranging market. So what do we do in a ranging market? We can sell from the highs, we can buy from the lows, and we can wait for either end to be broken. So if that's broken, obviously sellers are coming, and if that's broken, buyers are probably taking over. But I do think that if gold can reach back up to these highs, we will look for sells from this area to break lower, right? So I would, again, ranging market, I would wait for gold to reach these highs, so that way this could be our kill zone for sells, or sell kill zone. Very simple. We're not trying to overcomplicate anything within our trading. We want to make this as easy as possible. So right now, this would be considered my sell kill zone. Let's say it doesn't reach that point. Let's say it does not reach those highs. If this is then broken, meaning that we're creating a lower point, lower lows and lower highs, and we're breaking the true neckline of this head and shoulders pattern, then you could look for the either trading the breakout if you're a breakout trader, or if you're like me, you could trade the retest, right? So that's something I will be identifying and looking for if I'm looking at gold. You can sell from here, or you can wait for the break in the retest. If broken, wait for retest. Or if you can, if you catch this, if you're on the market at the time while the market is breaking below, you can trade the breakout. Right? Now, do I know or think, can I tell you specifically, yes, for sure, for a fact is reaching these highs? No, I can't. I wish I could. But I do think that if we can, that's our best bet up here. Right now, there's no volatility in the market. We are leading into actually the New York session within almost 30 minutes here, a little bit less than that now. So that's when the market will start to pick up as far as the US dollar, gold, all that. So I do think that with what we are seeing, I do think that gold will continue to push down lower. And Philosopher said EU and GU. They're the same, bro. So we could take a look at one and it'll tell you the same thing on the other. Nothing different. Obviously, price and it's not going to look the same, but they're correlated pairs. So if you look at EU, like even right now, looking at gold is going to tell us a lot of what we're going to be looking at with EU and GU, because there's a US cross pair within it, the US dollar, right? So what we're looking at is, I mean, yes, you do have to do your own analysis to make sure you're looking at proper entries. But if we get a general direction of what gold is going to be doing, which I think is going to sell, which means the dollar may increase in value, which means that EU and GU may end up selling as well. Because if gold is selling, so will they. So we'll take a look at GU, because I don't think I take a look at that enough, Gbpjpy, and that'll tell us exactly what we're looking at with EU, right? Now, this actually is a little bit different because we are in this weird looking choppy market. But if we scale out to a higher time frame, being the daily, look at where we're at, right? Always understand the higher time frame. Look at where we're at. We're having a lot of trouble breaking above previous highs here. That's important, right? Because what was a bullish market from these lows to these highs just randomly got stopped right here. Why? Because it stopped here before. When this market was extremely bullish, for some reason, this market just stopped right there, right? Now, the market is doing the same thing right here. History repeats itself, guys. We're always going to identify what the market is going to be doing based off of higher time frames, the structures, the moves, or the moves that they make as well, right? Because we can see that this is in its impulsive phase. It's an impulsive move to the upside with no correction. Actually, this might be considered a correction. Let me just measure this out real quick. Nope, never mind. So that is not considered a actual correction. It did not reach the 38.2. It is not valid. So now it's reached its high point, a level of significant structure. Resistance, very simple, right? Since we are at this resistance point, the market started finding a little bit of a hard time to break above. It doesn't want to break above as of yet. When we scale down to a smaller time frame, we can see that rejection a little bit more, right? Again, on the daily, you can see the rejection. You can see the wicks to the upside. But you can also start to see the behavior of the candles a little bit easier on the smaller time frames as well. This is why we go from time frame to time frame. We have to understand the higher time frame to make sure, are we actually at a PRZ, potential reversal zone, or simply put, PRZ, just for those that don't know what that is, so I can clarify it for you. And we had to scale to a higher time frame to really see that, be in the 4 hour, the daily, the weekly, however you want to look at it, right? But we can't see that on the 5 minute, the 15 minute, and those structures are too weak for us to determine it to be valid. But we can say right now, since we are seeing some respect here, we can call this a potential reversal zone where the market may end up selling. If we look even further, we can start to see that we're creating lower highs. This market wasn't creating lower highs before on the way up, was it? It was creating higher highs and higher lows the entire time. This is a higher high and a higher low. Market broke above to create another higher high and another higher low. Same thing here. Higher high, higher low, and it respected that point. It kept respecting the breaks of structure up until the area that we're at now, showing us that if in fact it wanted to continue to be bullish, it would have, and it can't. So we're already seeing, again, lower highs being created. We have an accurate trend line being drawn there. Now we can also draw, I'll actually draw my structure. I'll draw my structure here. I don't like cutting through structure that much with because when you're drawing your structure, you never want to just be like, oh, well, that's a point right there. You really just want to identify the highs and the lows, and not to like say that you can't identify other points. But for me, the market's going to gravitate towards the most relevant levels of structure where it made significant moves before. And I would think at least this would be the most relevant price point. So I think if we're looking at anything, gold needs to break below, obviously, this point for an idea of continued strong sells. But I do think we're starting to set up for that even now. I mean, let me get rid of this. We can even draw on this time frame. We know that there's a PRZ, but I will cut through and say that this is a level of structure as well, right? So I think right now what we're looking at is some potential sells happening with GU. It just really depends because, again, the lack of volatility, the choppiness of this right here, that's not something you could even trade. And I wouldn't necessarily say that's something you want to take a look at. As of yet, I would think you would have to just let this develop a little bit more for us to get a strong idea. But yeah, I would think overall, even with the correlation of gold, I think we would be looking at potential sells here with GU and also EU. Because if we look at EU, looks almost identical. Not the same, but I mean, you're looking at a pretty strong sell range. You know what I mean? So same thing. Sells on EU, sells on GU. Let me just make sure this, yeah, okay. And I'll make sure that I put these charts, the analysis for you guys in the Discord as well, so that way you guys stay on top of everything. And again, if you're not a part of the Discord here, make sure that you are. You can simply just go into the description below and grab the link to it, so that way, again, you can stay on top of signals like the one we just placed earlier this week, or last week rather, for over 100 pips. And we also had a few other ones like GJ and GJ worked out really well for us. So make sure you're part of that. So again, good morning, everybody. I see a lot more people on. I appreciate everyone being on. So if you guys have any questions, any specific markets you would like for me to take a look at, feel free to let me know. I am taking a look at the chart or the chat below, so that way I could answer everything in relevance. And if you guys can, if you are getting any form of education, any type of value, go ahead, please like this video. It's really important that, again, we grow this community through just transparency, value, tons of education, and even more profits. I really want to make sure that we could build something that everybody could benefit from, not even just legacy students, but everybody. So if you guys can, I definitely appreciate it. It definitely helps out. Thank you. But yeah, any other questions, any other markets you guys want to take a look at? I do want to stay on for a little bit longer, not just identify charts, but really make sure that I'm giving back to you guys and really answering any and all questions. I know I have a bunch of legacy students on right now too. So any of my students, if you have questions, definitely let me know. Quite confusing. What is it that you're confused about? You said, can you please take a look at AUD, JPY, and AU? They seem to be moving similarly. Quite confusing. Well, why do you think that is, philosopher? Let's use, and this is not to sound disrespectful, why do you think AUD JPY and AUD USD are moving similarly? We have to use common sense on that. Why do you think that is? Let's get 50% of the work done and answering your question without even having to look at those charts. Why do you think that they move very similarly? It's a very simple concept. It's a I mean, they are correlated in a sense, right? And why is that reasoning? We take a look at AUD JPY. Oh, look at that. Came right back to my buy zone. And then we take a look at AUD USD. They move almost similarly. AUD JPY. Almost. Not exact, but almost. But Jay making me... Jay... what's good? Oh, good morning, Nikki. I appreciate you making my way back. I miss y'all. I miss you. I miss you guys. I miss you being with us. But no worries. No rush. You're welcome back with open arms at any time. But yeah, very simple concept, philosopher. Why do you think they are correlated? Why do you think they move almost the same? The Aussie. You have the Aussie dollar. It's not confusing. I mean, you could make it confusing or you can make it extremely easy. If you and this is not, again, this is not to sound disrespectful, but if we use common sense, things become a lot more easier. Those doors open a lot more, right? Because you're like, oh, wow, okay, well, why do they move similarly? Well, the Aussie. If news happens for the Australian dollar, it's going to affect every Aussie pair. AU, AUD JPY, AUD CAD. It's going to affect it because it has the Aussie dollar within it. If the Aussie is gaining strength, right, against most of the markets or most pairs, then you're going to see the majority of all Aussie pairs increase in value, right? You're going to see them. You're going to see them being more bullish. So that's why they move very similarly, because they have the Aussie pair within them. Now, as far as AU, we don't have to look at that because, again, the same thing. Gbpjpy USD, we're looking at sells on that. So that means on Euro USD, we're probably looking on sells on that. When we go to AUD USD, we're probably looking on sells on that. Because why? They don't look the same. They don't move identically. When you go onto these charts, you do have to do your own markup, but they move similarly because why? The US dollar. So the same thing with AUD JPY. If we're looking at sells on AU, there's a strong possibility there's going to be sells on AUD JPY. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly what's going to happen, because there are times where they don't move the same. But, I mean, if we're losing value in the Aussie dollar, that means that the Aussie dollar is going to most likely be much weaker than the Japanese yen and probably start looking for sells. Now, we can confirm that if we go into a higher time frame here, being the daily, right? Now, I know I was saying yen buys, but we have to take a look at everything as an individual. And there is no potential ideas for any of that. We still have to really let them develop. But if we really look at this, now I'm just drawing that trend line and see if it does in fact work. I'm not a huge fan of it, but we'll leave it just for educational purposes. Just to get you guys like accustomed of what you should be doing and trying to look at and mark up. So again, I'm looking at this as a potential sellers, or it is not a potential, it is a seller's market. I'm looking at this as a potential trend line that can be currently be respected and obviously broken in the future, but I'm going to get rid of that for now because we're going to scale down. We're going to actually, before we even scale down to a smaller time frame, I don't like, see, this is the one thing I don't like, my zones ever being that big, but we are within a level of structure. Right now, I'm going to cheat a little bit, right? Because this is a giant zone. And when I scale down to a smaller time frame, everything's going to be blue, and I don't want that. So we're going to cheat. And we're going to put that right there. Because we know where the market has respected, at least on this aspect. And it is confirming, and it is coming back into significant structure. So very much valid. So we already hit a significant level of structure. We can see, I mean, the level of respect. I'll get rid of this for right now. I'll put a fine line there. We can see the respect that we're having around this point. When you have a triple top. Ooh. 1, 2, 3. And in case anybody's wondering what a triple top is when you have a level of structure. It's kind of like a double top, just with another one. It's 3. It reaches a point of structure. It's like, do I want to break through? Let me double check. You know what? I don't know. Let me triple check. Right? It comes to that point. It rejects off of it. It reaches that point to try to break above, and it cannot. And then as soon as it corrects lower, it takes that third attempt. It's like, you know what? Damn, this third time I can't even do that. Let me go ahead and forget about it. And usually what ends up happening is you do get that potential reversal. So that's what we could look at here, right? Look at this picture here. Let me see what we can see here, right? We can now identify this as our structure. Let me get rid of this. So on a 4-hour, 1-hour time frame aspect, we are kind of like in limbo. We are in this little range, if you will. So if I'm looking at this small range, I would have to now identify any further detail to see, okay, well, we're in this range. Is there anything else that I can identify that maybe will tell me, is this a sell or is this a buy? Can we draw anything else? Yes, we can. Making sure this is perfect. Give me 1 second. There we go. So you can see right now that we have our connected point. We have a secondary, a trigger, fourth touch, and then we have our break. Now, not only do we have the break of the trend line, we also have what? Respect of the trend line. Now, not only do we have respect of the trend line, if we look left to get right, we also respect the level of structure that was just broken out of on this time frame, right? On the higher time frame, you can't see all this detail. This is why it's important to get an overall idea and then break it down. If we can, and I don't like doing this. I don't, because in a ranging market, you should never use a Fibonacci retracement tool. But I'm going to break that rule because we did, in fact, break a trend line. We did break a level of structure here, and we are respecting it as such. So I am going to go ahead and also, just so that way for educational purposes, you guys know exactly what to be using and how to use it, add that fib there. And we can see right now we're at that 50% retrace ratio. I would think that Gbpjpy, also Xauusd, will be looking for potential sells. Right now, I actually do like this overall analysis, so I'm going to make this a little bit more accurate in the sense of, like, not accurate, but clean for my eyes, for the charts. I don't like too much on my chart or for it to look all crazy. I'm going to put that right here. Again, I'm cheating a bit because I know the structure is here, and I know this is the entire zone, but I'm just going to cheat a little bit just for the sake of my chart not looking all cluttered. So right now, Gbpjpy, we are in a sell kill zone. So I would think that if we're looking at anything, Gbpjpy, with the respect to the trend line, the respect of structure, and the respect to the 50% retrace ratio, and also the way that these candles are looking. So let's also do this. Wicks equal rejection. I would be thinking that this is looking extremely bearish. So Gbpjpy looking for sells. And then you said confusing because initially Xauusd was giving me a sell setup this morning, but Gbpjpy was giving me buy setup. I mean, they are also their own individual pairs, but if you had it marked up like this, then that probably changes your mind. If you were looking at the buy setup because it bought from here and you're like, well, it's buying right now, don't ever think that, right? The one thing you don't ever want to do is like, well, that respected the support down here and now it's buying, it's a full-fledged buy now. No, absolutely not. This is why you have to mark it up and understand the full idea, because now you can see the break of structure. Now you can see the break of the trend line, the respect of the higher time frame resistance. Those things are extremely important. You have to be able to find those things or see those things. But right now, I would think that AUD/JPY might start looking for sells. And this is not a trade, so nobody enter, but this is what my setup would look like if, in fact, I did trade it. So I would actually look for sells literally where we're at right now in this area. My stop loss usually goes above the previous highs. That's about 60 pips. The only reason why I wouldn't do that is because my first take profit is only about 30 to or about 40 pips. I don't like that risk reward. By minimum, I always do 50 pips for my stop losses. So I would even keep it like that. It's still not the risk reward that I would like. But if we're looking at this overall, that's just your first take profit. Obviously, you have other forms of or other levels for take profit as well. So the next take profit will be 103 pips. Now that risk reward is over 1 or 2. I like that a lot more. Obviously, it can drop lower, but I'm just identifying the first point. But if I was looking for sells, that's exactly what it would look like. My entire setup. Because anytime I'm looking for a take profit or anytime I'm looking for another, point of reference, I'm always going to go to the extreme lows or highs. That is right down here. This is the most significant level of structure, even this point here, if we want to go to the extreme lows. Right, so if I was to look at anything, AUD/JPY is looking like a strong sell setup. I wouldn't be looking at those buys as of yet, but this does look good. I might actually put this in for our auto trader for students, depending on how I like this trade setup, just so that way they can make profits on this as well. But I mean, look at that. I might actually just say fuck it and just go ahead and might go ahead and start selling this, to be honest, because I really do like the way that this is currently looking. Let me actually go ahead and see this real quick. Oh yeah, that actually looks really good. I know this. I'm gonna get rid of all the. I know this strategy looks really confusing, but I promise you it's not. I'm just seeing if there's any other correlation, because I do like to use this in correlation with my price action to identify entries, and I actually do like the way that that's looking. So let me just remark this up real quick, very quickly. I mean, very fast. It's not going to take too long. I'll just draw like that. Structure. Ooh, wrong tool. So once you know what you're looking for, I mean, it doesn't take a lot or take too long to mark up a chart in the way that you would look for a potential entry, right? So I mean, that's pretty much my entire markup. Obviously, I'll draw this as my structure down here, and that's really it. Don't need anything else. So depending on how this goes, if I do personally place a sell on this, I'll be sure to go ahead and place a signal for you guys in the Discord, so that way you guys can obviously profit with this as well. Jeff, NAS 100 looking bullish reversal now. You tell me. You tell me. Does this look like a reversal? Let's see. A bullish reversal, or do you mean continued bullish? I mean, there was no reversal. There's no type of sells, I would think. This is just a continued buy. There's no reversal. This is a continuation, right? This is very bullish. I would say that you're continuing. I mean, did reach the structure point, can't break above it. So I would say that you're definitely taking note of that. You have to break above this in order to really get a strong idea for continued buys. But if you're looking at this, like if you're saying, well, should I buy because it's at this level of structure? You tell me. It's not a reversal. This is not a reversal. I want everybody to understand that when you're going in the direction of the market, it's not a reversal. We're creating higher highs and higher lows. This is a continuation, right? This is a continuation because why? Higher highs, higher lows. You know what I mean? This is a continuation. If you're buying because of this level of structure, I know why you're asking me. I'm not going to tell you, only because you need to start feeling confident within your own trades. If you're buying because of that, that's a good idea, I would say. But it is not a reversal. But the only reason why I'm not going to speak on it is only because I know you're in a trade on it, and I do not want to deter you from your own trade. But I would say that if you bought from there, that's a good idea. Took a buy right before you started your video. See? And I look at the chat and I knew it. Okay, wrong terminology. Yeah, I only say that because I don't want anybody messing up, because what ends up happening is you get the wrong terminology and you can still lose money that way, because you're like reversal and then you start placing it in the wrong direction, right? So definitely want to be careful with that. You was looking at the 5 minute. You get off that 5 minute. Get off the 5 minute. If you have to look at the over, that's what I'm saying. If you're on the 5-minute, you're like, oh, that's a reversal, and not understanding that this isn't even a seller's market to begin with. This has always been at least right now, a bullish market. And if you're only on the 5-minute and you're placing the buy based off what you see on the 5-minute and not look left to get right to get even further confirmation, so that way you don't have to question whether or not it is a buy, you could then be confident and say, oh shit, it is. I don't have to ask. And that's not to sound rude or disrespectful. It's just so that way you could feel confident, right? That's the biggest thing that we all need when it comes to trading. Confidence, right? The more confident you are about a trade setup, what ends up happening? Bigger lot sizes. When you place bigger lot sizes, what ends up happening? More profits. That boosts your confidence well more than anything. So this is what I mean about not using the 5-minute to determine anything, right? Unless you're on your chart, you have it marked up on a higher time frame, and you're scaling down to the 5-minute, the 1-minute, whatever, to get a fine line entry. That's cool, but you have to use the overall market in order to get an idea. So again, if you're buying off of this, that's a good idea. If you're buying because of anything that you see on the 5-minute, bad idea. I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? But build your confidence based off of your own trades. So do I think that Nas 100 and the majority of all indices will continue to be bullish? I do. I do think that we'll continue in a bullish market. But again, if I'm looking left to get right, there's a few things that need to happen in order for us to get that strong idea. This needs to be broken, these highs here. And we haven't done that as of yet, right? I know it looks like a break above, but it came right back within. And on the daily, that's a wick, right? You can even see it up here. That's the extreme high. Can't break above. So if anything, we have to break above that initial point in order for us to get the strong idea of continued buys. But again, if you're buying because, I'll scale down to the smaller time frames really quick. If you are buying based off of this, and I'm not telling anybody to buy this right now because I don't see a entry as of yet, but this would be your best entry point, because with indices and also gold as well, metals, if you will, they respect levels of structure and price. I wouldn't say perfectly, but almost perfectly. They react off of price so much that when you're reaching these structure points, when you're reaching these price points again, you should be looking for potential entries, right? Even came back down to that 886. So that's a pretty strong, significant point. So I would think that we are looking at a buy zone, buy kill zone. No entries. I mean, I know you got an entry on a Jeff, which is great. If you did get into profits on that, that's beautiful. But even if not, I would consider this to be somewhat of a buy zone right now. We just have to, not right now in the sense of placing an entry, but we are within that price point. I would hope if we can have a candle reach back down to these lows before we get an entry, right? Because you want to try to obviously get the best risk to reward, the best entry you can. This would be our best bet if we can reach that low point again. I doubt it, but if you could, that would be your best bet. If you're scaling in, from a smaller time frame from entry, you could use a smaller time frame structures for entry if you would like. I know a lot of people do that, so this is probably, I wouldn't say to buy now, but this is probably, at least on a smaller time frame, being like the 5-minute, this could be a good reference point as well. So no entries on this. Nobody go ahead and start buying this. I don't want anybody being like, Jay told me to buy this and you lose money. By no means. I would think that it's going to come back. I would hope, actually, for it to come back down a little bit lower before we start looking for anything else. But I do think that you're in the right direction for your trade. I would just say be patient and let it do its thing. Bought at 12 based on higher time frames. Okay, so you're a small profit, not even small profits, pretty decent profits. So you got into that candle. Yeah, that's a beautiful entry. So I would say just stay patient, allow that market to give you more profits, and then you're good from there. I might, depending on how this reacts, I might go ahead and start looking for entries myself, depending on how this works. I wish I could do this for an auto trader, but I don't know the brokers that some students use, and I know that even a 0.01 lot size is still a standard for some. So I wish I could trade indices for students on the auto trader, but I might send this out as a signal if, in fact, we do look for buys on this. But, yeah, I think you're in the right direction. If you're in profits, you already know the answer to your question. You're right. That's the one thing, too. Build your confidence. If you place a trade and you actually end up in profits, you're making money on that trade, you know you won. You know you're in the, you know you're good. Especially with this, because a small move equals a lot of money. So my best bet, or my advice to you would be move your stop loss to break even, allow this market to make you more money, and walk away. Don't even look at it, right? Because then you'll start getting anxious. Should I close? Should I not? At least let this market give you a little bit more profits. Let me go ahead and take a look at gold really quick, see if there's anything on this. Nothing so far. I thought there was going to be a potential trade with this, but I don't like anything on it as of yet. Let me see, GJ. Okay. So I might go ahead and start looking for those sells coming up on GJ, and I like the sells happening on AJ. So there might be a trade setup or two that I might give to you guys in the Discord. Legacy students, obviously, you guys are going to definitely get that. But for everybody else, if you're part of the free Discord, I might go ahead and if we do place an entry on EJ or AJ rather in GJ, I might go ahead and share these trades with you guys, because I do want to make sure that you guys are not just learning, but also making profits alongside with us as well. So I might go ahead and start looking for some trades on these. AU selling. Let's see, EU. Oh, look at that. All right, GU. All right, so right when we were saying before, I was like, if anything, we'll be looking for sells possibly on gold. It is reaching our sell kill zone, so we could be looking for an entry on that soon. But for that, we're looking at sells on EU and GU, and these are actually selling pretty nicely. No entries on them, but I mean, look at the areas that we're at, right? We understand our levels of structure. We see where the market makes their moves from, and that they're going to probably make the move from those points again. And this is the point where I'm speaking of. So I might actually share this with you guys as well, depending on how this market reacts. But we are seeing some rejection from this point. So if the next few candles can't come back up to here, I might look for some sells around these areas. So I'll even draw this as sell kill zone. And this is what my trade setup would look like. Obviously no entry on it right now, but if I was, it'll look something like this. And it has to come back up to this level of structure. If not, I'm not going to place a trade while it's all the way down at these lows. But if we can't come back up to this point, I'd be looking for a trade setup like that. Is there a Discord link anywhere? Yeah, bro. It's in look at the description. I have the link to the Discord in the description. So all you gotta do is go there. You'll see the link to the Discord, and you're good. And you'll see it look like this. So hopefully you got that. I want to see if gold can at least reach back up to the sell kill zone, so that way we could place a trade on this, because this I do like a lot. All right, I'm just taking a look at some charts really quick. So yeah, what I will be doing is I do need to trade binary. I set up our binary auto trader. I have a bunch of students already linked up to it. So HFT auto trader, you can see it right here. So I'll be able to like trade binary for everybody. So I will be doing that here within the next hour or so. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to let me know. Yep, no problem, brother. I appreciate you. But yeah, if you guys have any other questions, if there's, if you're confused on something, feel free to let me know. I definitely got you. If not, we'll conclude for today. Not too much as far as like charts are concerned, markups for potential trades. I mean, actually, we have a few. I think GJ, AJ, and if maybe golds, and maybe even, look at that, maybe even Euro Gbp. We might have some trade setups depending on how a few things look. But yeah, I would allow, especially on a Monday, for the markets to develop a little bit more. I do think it's important that, for Mondays, you're not over trading or doing too much, because what ends up happening is with the lack of volatility, you get stuck in trades, and sometimes that analysis that you were looking at probably wasn't as accurate because there was no real movement. And now as the market starts to build the volatility, it starts to show its true colors. So Mondays, don't do too much trading. Just do a lot of markup, identify, see what the market is doing, kind of let it develop and go from there. But yeah, as of right now, I don't have any entries on anything, but there might be. I do like some trades. I'm in. How much do we need for that account, Jay? For the binary auto trader, I would at least see like 200, because I'm only placing $5 investments, and that's just to keep the risk very low for everybody. I don't know if there's a way to increase, like to put your own fixed investment. So like, let's say if you did come in with 1,000, obviously you could risk a little bit more. I'm going to actually find out about that, because if you can, obviously I'll tell you guys what your investment size should be. But I would say like $200, because you don't need a lot of money to really get started with binary. And I'm not over leveraging. I'm not risking too much. I'm worried more about consistency. Like if I can get 5 wins in the morning, 5 wins at night, that alone should grow an account regardless. And that's kind of like what I'm going to be going for. I'm not going to be going for 20,000 trades on, you know what I mean? I'm going to do it as professional as possible. Try to get some wins in the morning, try to get wins at night. Do that Monday through Friday. I mean, overall, that'll compound over time. So, yeah, $200. You don't need too much to actually start getting invested into the binary auto trader. I would say 100 too, but I would always say just leave a little bit of a cushion, because we already know how the markets work, and we definitely know how binary works, especially on the 1 minute time frame. Because I'm only doing for 60-minute expiry, so within a minute I'm trying to get into profit. So we already know how that works sometimes, but very consistent. We do use this weird little strategy for our binary trading. It has been very beneficial, extremely profitable. So I do want to make sure that we can translate that over to your accounts as well. So yeah, don't need too much. Yep, no worries. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate the time and gems dropping this morning. Yep, never a problem. I appreciate every last one of you guys. I will be in the Discord with you guys, whether you're a legacy student or not. So feel free, even if you're not a student with us, feel free to drop charts into the Discord. There is a chat for everybody. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves and really get some more ideas, share trade setups. You know what I mean? If you want to put a signal out for everybody to take, I don't care. Go ahead. I'm trying to build a community based off of actual trading, education, and real profits. And if you guys could help me with that, that'll be beautiful, because it's not just going to help me. It's going to help you guys. You guys are going to get a lot of value, tons of information, and tons of education, no matter what you do within this community. So feel free to talk amongst yourselves. Feel free to, just share any ideas with each other. I will be in the Discord sharing some ideas and analysis. If there is any trade setups, I will be sure to share those with you guys as well. Legacy students, I might have like 4 or 5 trade setups for you guys, so that's a beautiful thing. I'll put that in the auto trader for you guys as well. But if I find that it should be a signal, a big lot size signal, in case anybody's wondering what that is, I do have something where I just literally, I'm like, okay, well, if I feel the trade is that good, I want you guys to place a larger lot size for more profits. You know what I mean? Because I'm a firm believer, if you can make more money, might as well. The biggest risk in life is not taking one. So I always make sure that I'm sending them the right ideas and placing bigger lot sizes when they should, due to the accuracy. So I will be putting that out for you guys. And for non-legacy students, I will share a signal or two with you guys as well. Again, I think it's important that you guys profit with us as well as you guys are learning. So definitely appreciate you. If there is anything else that you guys need, feel free to hit me up at any point. I will make sure that I answer any and all questions, whether you hit me up on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. I definitely got you guys. But I'm hoping that the information today received you well. I hope it helped a lot of you guys. If it did, please, again, if you haven't already, like the video. It helps us grow, and I really want to grow this community into something exponential. So that definitely helps me as well. So I appreciate every last one of you guys. Again, if there's anything you need, feel free to hit me up. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Legacy students, I'll see you guys in Discord, and I'll be trading binary for your accounts here in a second. So thanks, guys. I appreciate every last one of you guys.